time for... Hey, how you doing, man?
Not bad, thanks.
That's good. I'm kind of just in the middle of something here.
Oh, all right, no worries.
Okay, thanks, pal. It's time for...
Hey, Tom.
Hey, Brent. How you doing, man?
Good, mate. What are you doing?
I'm just doing the big opening number for Tomorrow Tonight. You know, it's our very first show.
Hey, Tom, we don't quite have the budget for that, mate.
Oh.
But you know what? I think we got something we can use, so
okay.
Let's use that and we'll see how it goes.
All right. Hello and welcome to Tomorrow Tonight. Do I really have to say it?
Yes, Tom.
The show where we're more grand than Disneyland. Let's start the show. Coming up in Tomorrow Tonight, Richard Champion and Christopher Cross are waiting to get us all up to date with what's news in the sports world.
Let's just say he didn't put a good spin on that one.
Also, analysts are assessing whether social media leads to short attention spans. And finally, a revolt in Antarctica. An undercover correspondent risks all to bring us this story.
Last guy they caught talking with the news is now sleeping with the fishes, if you know what I mean.
Hello and welcome to Tomorrow Tonight. Our guests tonight are Andrea Matute and Caitlin Charles. Here's Josh Walter with this week's news headlines. Josh?
Thanks, Tom, and what a great start to the series. Earlier this year, Tony Abbott said that there was no chance of another spill motion after the leadership vote in February. Mr. Abbott has since been replaced as Prime Minister. He has recently become the CEO of Uncle Toby's Onions. Speaking of the Liberal government, in conjunction with the Conservative lobby, the party has passed new legislation that only people of pure blood, those who have not had sex yet, are allowed to marry. To enforce this law, the government has set up mandatory virginity tests to ensure the new legislation is followed. We were able to uncover what the testing device looks like. In employment news, jobs that were once seen as dirty are the new trend, with many individuals seeking work in the fields of plumbing and garbage disposal. In response to this, universities have begun offering degrees for these new fields. However, the same universities are now warning students that getting a degree will no longer guarantee employment in this popular new field. Facebook has recently started a campaign to deny food and water to kids in the third world. The move came after a harsh drop in the number of likes received by posts offering to trade water for likes. A Facebook official has said that people need to learn that those likes you just throw away could feed a kid in Africa for a week. And our last story for now, the Russian government has today made a public statement after Putin's continued absence from the media this week. There has been considerable speculation about his whereabouts, the Ukrainian government, for instance, claiming his disappearance proves that he has something to hide. The allegations, however, have been shown to be partially false by an official statement from Putin's administration, stating he was found hiding in a Moscow IKEA. And that's all the news for now. Thank you, Tom.
Thank you, Josh, for those news headlines. And how's your week been?
Well, actually, my puppy Fluffy's been with the vet this week.
All right, thank you, Josh. We're now going to cross live to the Faux Sports news desk, where Richard Champion and Christopher Cross are waiting to get us up to date with what's news in the sports world.
Hello, viewers. I'm Richard Champion and welcome to Folk Sports. I'm here with Christopher Cross, who looks more excited than a sumo wrestler at an all-you-can-eat buffet. Thank you for being here, Chris.
Thank you, Richard. It's a pleasure to be here. I'm ready to dive right into today's highlights like a soccer player wasting time.
Banter.
Making news this week, presence of alcohol in sport has been a topic of much discussion over the past few months after comments made by Shane Warne in the Cricket World Cup post-match interview.
That's right, Christopher. Let's just say he didn't put a good spin on that one. How about you, Chris? Do you think that there's too much alcohol in sport?
Well, I don't know about alcohol in sport, Richard. All I know is there's not enough alcohol in that class right now. I'm kidding, we have fun here. To AFL now, and the Essendon Bombers have been cleared of all charges regarding the club's drug scandal at the beginning of 2012.
Yes, reports say that they are taking a trip to Amsterdam to celebrate the good news. I'm gonna say it's gonna be pretty dope. I'm kidding, of course. Well, that's all we have time for this evening. I hope to see you again in the future.
Yeah.
I'm Richard Champion. Good night.
Good night.
A big thank you to Richard Champion and Christopher Cross for those headlines. We now throw to our first topic of discussion, the future of drugs in sport. Andrea, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I would be against that because I think players should play to their true ability and just keep it to true sportsmanship really out there on the field.
Yep. And Caitlin, how about yourself?
I'm totally against it, it's such an unsafe practice. We don't know how everyone's going to react, and we don't know, these people are elite sportsmen. They're already, do they really need more enhancement?
That's true. I mean, it could bring greater numbers to the games, I think. I think if we improve the athletes to the point where they're bigger, they're stronger, they're faster, I think particularly the fact that there's been a drop in crowd numbers over the last few years, I think that'd really boost the numbers. What do you think, Josh?
Well, obviously illicit drugs are out of the question, but yeah, playing devil's advocate, why if we put a cap on how much money people could spend on drugs, how much each team could spend on drugs, everyone would be on a level playing field. It'd just be another tactical element of the game.
That is true, but it depends how people react to these drugs. I mean, if some people react better than others, then it's not the level playing field that everyone was hoping for, whilst it may be better for the game.
Some players are already aggressive out there on the field, and this could make them resort to even more violence.
Well, I mean, sport isn't a level playing field if you look at it, head on. You've got people that have different body types, different strengths, different weaknesses. If you add into it, their response to different performance-enhancing drugs or treatments, it's just adding another element to change up who's better at what.
That's true, but you do have the ability to change. Like, you can train and work on your skill set if everyone's on that level playing field. But with the additive of drugs in sport, I think that the different reactions to it really have a great impact on that.
Yeah, so we'd obviously only be talking about things like maybe contact or team sports or something like that. One point is obviously if you had a swimming tournament, obviously having drugs involved in that would shatter all of the previous records. But in things where it doesn't matter so much, I don't see as much of the harm.
Right.
But there is a harm, there's a long-term harm to people's bodies. While you said that we don't know how people react, but we don't know how people will react in the long term. There are studies about, long-term drug use and how that affects people. We can't just, throw people into it and not know where it's going to be, what's going to happen.
Well, thank you for your thoughts there, guys. We'll now throw to a short break, and when we come back, we'll be talking about who's online.